Sport on Siren 107.3 FM.
Good evening and welcome to Siren Sport, a special one-off programme looking back at the seasons of Lincoln's top sporting teams and looking ahead to a summer of sport in the city. I'm Michael Barwise.
And I'm Daniel Jefferson. Coming up on the show, we will be looking back on how Lincoln United just missed out on the playoff positions. Lincoln Rugby claimed promotion after storming to the league title, and we will be finding out how American football is growing in popularity in Lincolnshire.
But where else to start than with Lincoln City? Well, it's been quite the season for the club, promoted as champions in the National League and history makers in the FA Cup. I've been looking back at what's been a truly special season for the Imps.
So, without further ado, can I introduce Danny and Nicky Cowley?
After a string of mediocre seasons in the National League, Lincoln City fans can be forgiven for not holding out too much hope at the start of the season. However, the arrival of new manager Danny Cowley and brother Nicky saw the Imps' fortune turn around, and after going on an incredible 17-game unbeaten run, the team found themselves at the top of the table at Christmas. Though despite an impressive opening half of the season, Danny Cowley wasn't getting carried away.
We just don't get ahead of ourselves. You know, we try to learn from others' mistakes, and you know, for us, it's always easier to learn from someone else's mistakes rather than your own. And you know, we've seen other teams at different stages in the season get ahead of themselves, and what can happen when you do. So no, for us, we're gonna feet firmly on the floor, reach for the stars, but feet firmly on the floor.
Away from the league, the club were enjoying even more success in the FA Cup, beating opposition from League One, the Championship, and even the Premier League. Mark Wiley, the sports editor of the Lincolnshire Echo, talks us through their amazing cup run.
Absolutely unbelievable what they've done in the cup. I mean, in the second round they played Oldham in front of a big crowd. It was on telly.
Here's Robinson,
and that felt like a big deal, beating a struggling League One side. But I mean, what they went on to achieve after that was just incredible. I mean, they outplayed Ipswich home and away twice.
It's Nathan Arnold.
Came from behind to beat Brighton.
It's rolled in now for Robinson.
And then beat Burnley.
And Racket's on the end of it.
It was one amazing high after another.
Victory over Premier League side Burnley made Lincoln City the first non-league side in over 100 years to reach the FA Cup quarter-finals. This set up a last 8 tie with Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. The Imps played well in the first half, but as the game wore on, the class of their Premier League opponents shone through, and a 5-0 defeat saw Danny Cowley's side exit the competition. However, their historic cup run won the team many plaudits, including from Arsenal boss Arsene Wenger.
You know, they knocked Ipswich out, they knocked Brighton out, they knocked Burnley out at Burnley, and you could see in the first half, I think they had a very direct game, but they had clarity about what they wanted to do, and they did that very well.
Turning their attention back to the league, and the Imps continued to edge ever closer to the title. Lincoln sealed promotion in their final home game of the season, a 2-1 win over Macclesfield Town. The victory means the club will be playing in the Football League next season, for the first time in 6 years. Winger Terry Hawkridge, who scored both of Lincoln's goals, says it was a special day for the club.
It's crazy, it's a bit, it's emotional, not just for us players, for the people that have been coming for years, it's the club's back where we deserve to be, and not just us players that have done it. I think we've done it together. It's been unity all year. It's been great, and we've deserved it.
To celebrate a stunning year for Lincoln City, supporters have filled the streets to see their team travel through the city on an open-top bus parade. What started off as just another ordinary season at Sincilbank has turned out to be one that will go down as one of the greatest in the Imps' history. Well, it really has been a season to remember for Lincoln City, but what's been your highlight? Let us know by tweeting us at Siren FM with your favourite moment of the Imps season. We'll read out the best at the end of the programme. Staying with Lincoln City, and as we've just been hearing, they'll be playing in the Football League next season for the first time in 6 years. But how will the Imps fare to life in League Two? Well, I caught up with the Lincolnshire Echo's chief sports reporter Mark Wiley and began by asking him whether it will be difficult for Danny Cowley to keep the current squad together.
I think it'll be tough. I think one or two may go. There's recently been some speculation with Sean Raggett possibly going to West Brom. There's nothing concrete in that at the moment. Alex Woodyard's another player who's been linked with higher level clubs. but it's inevitable. And Danny Cowley's actually quite philosophical about it. He in a way, he regards it as a positive because he wants to have players that other clubs want. So, yeah, I think it's possible that one of the two of the better players will depart. But the good thing is the club will get good money for them. They don't need to, they can hold out for a good price and make some good money out of them. And knowing how organised and meticulous Danny is, he will have replacements already in mind, even before players have left. He has a list of 5 players in every position that he likes at various levels that can come in and do a job. And the good thing now is because the club's really back on the footballing map, it's a very popular place to come to. People want to work with the Cowleys, people want to come to Lincoln City because it's a club on the up and have seen what the fan base is like.
Now the Imps are returning to the Football League for the first time in 6 years, I think it is. How big is the jump between the National League and League Two?
I would have previously said the sort of top 6 or 7 in the conference is quite comparable to League Two. But, I mean, if you look at the 2 teams that came up last season, Grimsby and Cheltenham, they've struggled this season. Grimsby have gone through 3 managers. Cheltenham, I think, finished 4th bottom. So there is a bit of a gap there. They will need to strengthen. I think you need to strengthen, even if they hadn't gone up, they would have needed to strengthen the side. So, yeah, I mean, there is a bit of a jump, but I think, given what we saw from the team in the Cup run, there's no reason why they can't do well next season, and I would expect them to be at least challenging for the playoffs.
And there's some big teams in League Two and 1 or 2 local derbies as well in that league.
Yeah, that's a big thing. The problem has been in the National League over the last few years, particularly this season, is that we haven't had any derbies. You can't really count North Ferriby as a derby, even though it's just less than an hour up the road. Grimsby Town again, you've got Mansfield Town, Notts County, Chesterfield, Coventry's not far, Cambridge isn't far. So actually less travelling next season, which is good. And we'll see a lot of decent away followings at Sincil Bank, because apart from the odd team like Tranmere, you barely get over 100 coming to Sincil Bank. But we're going to see lots of big away followings, and that's only going to help the atmosphere.
A great mix of music, news, entertainment, and more on Siren 107.3 FM.
Many Lincoln United players have recently agreed new contracts at the club in preparation for next season. I went down to Ashby Avenue to look back on last season and what the future holds for the Whites. After calling full-time on their season a few weeks ago, Lincoln United managed to just miss out on the playoffs by 6 points in the Evo Stig First Division South. The Whites lost 7 games in a row at the start of the new year, which played a major part in them not reaching the top 5. United had superb runs in the FA Cup and FA Trophy, and manager Sam Wilkinson thinks the side still had a very successful season.
We're pleased with obviously the Cups. We've done really well in the Cups, winning the County Cup, beating Lincoln City and Gainsborough, and also Stamford in the final, which was a big achievement for the club. FA Cup was a good run, beating Nuneaton, getting one away from the first round proper, was a great run, and also the trophy, playing the likes of Kidderminster, another great day for the club. Weren't the club a lot of money, a little bit disappointed in the league, but because we did so well in the Cups, we thought we was always playing catch up, so it was difficult to actually get our nose in the playoffs where we wanted to be.
The former Lincoln United assistant was very proud of the team's 8th placed finish, but their attention now turns to next season, with a possibility of a restructure in the league, with 5 teams getting a chance at promotion. The side will hope to maintain their squad and add some depth in key positions. With this in mind, Wilkinson plans on pushing for promotion next season and signing some new players.
The aim will be to finish in the top 5 to get promoted. Whether we can win it or not, I'm not convinced about that as yet. It'll depend on budget and who we can bring in. But definitely we feel if we can keep the squad together and get a bit of experience in, we can definitely challenge top 5, yeah.
One of the players who could spearhead a promotion push is forward Connor Robinson. The former Lincoln City player recently put pen to paper on a new contract at Ashby Avenue. After struggling with playing time at the Imps and injuries hampering his stint at North Ferriby, Robinson believes that the Whites have rejuvenated his career since his move in January.
I'll never be bitter about my time at Lincoln City. I think, obviously I played as a pro there for 4 or 5 years. Obviously my time came to an end. Things didn't really look out, didn't go as they was planned at Ferriby, riddled with injuries. And yeah, I was out of football for a month or so, around, just before Christmas. No real, bite to play. no real enthusiasm to play. And Sam had a good chat with me, the gaffer, and said, look, just come down, see how you like it. And it's like you say, it pretty much has revived my career and given me that hunger back to play football again.
The Lincoln local at one stage last season banged in 13 goals in 13 games, and United will hope he will carry on this fine form into the next campaign. Robinson admits that he appreciates what Wilkinson and the club have done for him, but would seize the opportunity if, aside from a higher league, showed interest in him.
It's difficult being a semi-professional footballer. Obviously, I've only just dropped out from professional football, but sometimes it isn't enough football to pay your bills. It's as simple as that. This is reality we're in now. I think if a bigger offer did come in and sort of paid me out my job and you give me a stable wage, then I'd absolutely snap at the chance of doing that. I love football, and give me a great opportunity to get my hunger back and give me the chance to play football again.
You're listening to Siren FM, Lincoln's first community radio station.
In hockey, Lyndon finished 6th in the North Hockey Division 1 table. It's the side's second season after the merger between Lincoln Hockey Club and Lincoln Roses. Dan, you've been following the club this season. How did they get on?
Well, as you said, Lyndon finished 6th, the same as last year. The club have really progressed over the past 2 years and are looking to start from the bottom and work their way up the leagues since their merger. They had a sticky patch during the start of the season, where they lost 4 games on the bounce and had the exact same run of form midway through the season, which jeopardised their status in the league. Luckily, they beat Chapeltown 6-5 and Alderley Edge 4-2 to cement their place in mid-table. I spoke to their captain, Sam Temple-Baxter.
Overall positive. We had some good parts, we had some bad parts. We started off fairly well, and then we went down a little bit, but then we picked ourselves back up, and that was sort of the trend for the season. But overall, you've got to remember that we're a fairly new club, and we're just getting through our teething stages. So hopefully by next year, we'll have grown a lot stronger, and we'll have those less downs and more ups.
So what do the club need to do for a promotion push next season?
Well, Lyndon will need to bring in a few players to bolster their squad if they want to target the top positions in the league. They will need to have a strong pre-season to prepare themselves. One of the main reasons they didn't finish higher in the league last season was because they struggled to keep hold of leads in vital games, which meant in the long run they stumbled over the line during the closing stages of the season. Sam told me what the club's ambitions are for the next campaign.
And targets for next year is we want a good solid squad, a squad of 16 that we can choose from regularly each week. It might not happen, but it's something we can aim for. I want to finish higher than 6th. I don't want to finish 6th again. I want to finish in the top 4, and I want to be looking at promotion. I think we can do that with the squad and the players that we have. It's just about uniting them so we come together as one and we hit that synergy as a club.
To rugby, and it's been a very successful season for Lincoln's first team. Falling short of promotion in each of their last 3 seasons, the club had no trouble this time around, winning all but one of their league games. Michael's been down to Lodge Lane to find out more.
We've all heard about the incredible season that Lincoln's top football club have had.
The magic of the Cup lives on, an extraordinary story, and Lincoln City of the National League have beaten Premier League Burnley.
But what about the city's top rugby union team? Well, here at Lodge Lane, Lincoln Rugby Club's first team have enjoyed unprecedented success on the field. After winning 21 of their 22 league games this season, the team were crowned champions of the Midlands 3 East North Division. So what's been behind their success? Here's first team captain Harry Cowles.
New coach last season came in, did a good job, and I think just towards the end of the season we started really putting some points on some teams, 60-70 points on some teams, and it's really going well. So I think people just started to click what we were trying to achieve, and then we just brought that through to the next season. Real good pre-season, and they brought it through to the next season. This season we're on now. A couple of extra players come in, which are a real good addition to the team. I think just as a unit we've just all got to put that little bit of extra effort in, and it's just really paying dividends.
In recent years, Lincoln have made a habit of just missing out on promotion, finishing in 3rd in their last 3 seasons. However, club chairman Tom Barton believes that the team's turn of fortune is down to their new style of play.
We are getting to the standard that we achieved when we were in Midlands 2. certainly. We're there now, I think. And I think with the potential and the age of the players we have got, we have the potential to go further than that, which is something we haven't had for some years now. Certainly since I was running the playing side and have been chairman of the club, it's now we are a higher standard than we've been for quite some time.
The success of the men's first team has also had a positive impact on the club's women's team, as ladies captain Lucy Prescott explains.
Certainly a lot more girls are coming up to watch the lads play. Obviously the better you do, the more and then the better you play, the more interesting it is to watch as well. But the ladies are getting around 40 people coming to train on a Monday night, and yes, the numbers have really picked up.
I also spoke to Ross Taniowski, who is part of Lincoln Rugby's coaching team. He says that following on from the success of the first team, it's an exciting time to be involved with the club.
Lincoln Rugby itself is now undergoing a change where people want to be up here, people want to be watching the games, people want to be involved. So I think overall we're seeing crowds increase, we're seeing a massive change in how we are playing and watching the game as well. So it's really good to see.
After a remarkable season, Lincoln will be playing in the Midlands 2 East North Division for the first time in 6 years. And if they carry their stunning form across into the new season, then they'll have no problem in beating the drop.
Like your radio local? Tune in to Siren FM 107.3.
Last month saw Lincoln's annual 10K, raising over £100,000 for charities around the UK. The race, which is organised by Run for All, is supported by the Asda Foundation, the City of Lincoln Council, Lincoln Castle and a number of other organisations. Liam Phillips has more.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
The Lincoln 10K is one of the most popular events for Lincolnshire. This year's event attracted over 5,500 people, with a number of people running to raise money for charities all across the UK. The race began outside Yarborough Leisure Centre and continued through uphill Lincoln, up until the finish line behind Lincoln Cathedral. One of the great things about the Lincoln 10K is that it's ideal for racers of all abilities, as Vicky Robinson, the head of communication at the Jane Tomlinson Run Uphill, explains.
I mean, we're really lucky. The City of Lincoln 10K, it doesn't kind of take much encouraging for people to take part in it. It's got all things, really. Obviously, it's a beautiful city. It's got a great flat and fast course, which means it's suitable for everyone, whether you're a beginner, whether you're looking, you're hunting down that PB time, whether you're a charity runner, whether it's a first time, whether it's your 20th time. It's a great kind of course to come and have a run at.
Each year, the race attracts an array of runners from far and wide, with a number of different reasons for taking part. Emma Aber, a relatively inexperienced runner, completed her first ever 10K this year in Lincoln after being persuaded by her friends to have a go.
Did some running a few years ago, but then just sort of kind of drifted away from it again. And then a couple of years ago I went and ran the colour dash, sort of just off the bat, and quite enjoyed that, and so got back into it from there. And then last year I was increasing my distances slowly, and I started going to the park run, and so I thought, my friends started saying, you should do the 10K, you should do the 10K, and I'm like, well, I'm not sure that I'll be able to go that far, but then I discovered that I can.
One of the runners who completed the race was a student from the University of Lincoln, Tara Robinson. We caught up with her after she crossed the finishing line to get her thoughts on how the race went.
It was really tough, actually, because I'd only had 2 weeks proper running training for it. So yeah, it was good. I finished in under an hour, which is what I wanted. So I was really happy with the time and stuff. But I feel like I could probably have done with a bit more training beforehand. But it was good, really good atmosphere as well, with all the people around. Really good vibes when everyone's warming up and stuff together. The other runners going down there, and you kind of everyone's so tired to each other, which is really nice.
Still to come, we'll be looking to this weekend's highly anticipated Lincoln Grand Prix and hearing how Lyndon Cricket Club have started their new season. But we're going to take a break now for the local sport and catch up with the latest news from the rest of the country. Here's Robin Barlow.
Thanks, Dan. Chelsea can win the Premier League title tonight, just needing to beat West Brom away to confirm their status as champions. Even if they don't win tonight, they've got 2 home games to follow, so it seems inevitable that the club will win their 6th league title. Manager Antonio Conte highlighted the need for concentration until the title is confirmed.
The celebration moment must be fantastic. Now it's not right to think about this, because we have to take 3 points. After this, I'm sure that my players want to celebrate in the right way.
Manchester United have been charged for a late kick-off against Celta Vigo last night, and proceedings have been launched into Eric Bay's on-pitch behaviour, which resulted in his sending off. United drew the match 1-1, therefore winning 2-1 on aggregate, which confirmed their place in the Europa League final. Manager Jose Mourinho spoke about their lineup for their match before the final, in which they faced Crystal Palace.
Hopefully, Crystal Palace doesn't need the last game, because in the last game I'm going to make a lot of changes. It doesn't matter what happened, and nobody can blame us.
Elsewhere, in rugby, Saracens have the chance to win back-to-back European Champions Cup titles tomorrow, when they play Clermont at Murrayfield. The rugby union side also faced French opposition in last year's final, beating Racing 92. Director of Rugby Mark McCall was asked whether preparations for the game would be any different to the usual planning.
Honestly, not differently at all. Potentially a different level of detail. We've been looking at Clermont for quite a while. They're an outstanding team, so you need to have some real clarity in how you're going to go about dealing with some of the threats that they pose.
Back to you, Michael.
Thank you, Robin. Back to local sport, and Lincoln's annual Grand Prix takes place this Sunday as part of the Lincoln Festival of Cycling. The festival began last night and runs until Sunday, culminating with the Grand Prix. Robin went to find out more about the event.
Lincoln's 62nd annual Grand Prix takes place this weekend, although full-time winner Russell Downing has been ruled out with a broken collarbone. The event begins and finishes in Castle Square, taking its route through to Burton Waterton Village, before returning to Lincoln via the A57 and back up through Bailgate, a circuit that the riders have to complete 13 times. The event, which is run as part of a 4-day festival, began last night with a bike night at Lincoln Stroll Hall, and also includes a sportive event tomorrow, in which last year's equivalent attracted 1,200 riders. I met event organiser Dan Elmore at Castle Square, where the race starts and finishes.
Yeah, cycle sportive anyone can take part in, and there are 4 distances, 30, 60, 80 and 100, so you can choose your distance based on how much cycling experience you've got or how fit you are or whatever you want to do. And then the uphill dash on Saturday evening is people with a racing licence. Same as the Friday night races. They're for your regular competitive cyclists, just not the some of the professionals will ride at the end on Friday night, but most of them will be saving themselves for the Sunday's races.
The main event will feature 150 professional cyclists, and the winner will take home £1,000 in prize money. Dan Elmore went through the favourites for the men's race.
There's a guy called Russell Downing who's won it 4. Sadly, last weekend in the Tour of Yorkshire he broke his collarbone, so he's been substituted for one of his teammates. There's another previous winner, Kristen House, riding, and last year's winner, Tom Stewart, is also riding, so he's got to be one of the favourites.
One of the cyclists mentioned by the event's organiser was Russell Downing, who was out of the race having recently broken his collarbone. I spoke to the 4-time winner about his injury and recovery.
I crashed in first stage of Tour of Yorkshire, which put me out, broken collarbone. I've just recently had it plated last week, so recovery's going well, I think. Just doing sort of an hour and a bit a day on the turbo. Sort of not out on the road yet, so probably maybe middle of next week or something I might try and get out on the road, but that's still on it.
Downing has won the event 4 times, the joint most of anyone in the race's history. I asked him about the significance of the race.
Yeah, it's pretty special. It's probably one of the best races in the UK for the last few years, and it's pretty local to myself really, being from Rotherham, Sheffield. So it's one that's always been close to my heart, from watching it as a kid to then racing it in my career. Yeah, so it's still a lot of racing left, but really targeting with Lincoln again.
The event brings with it a crowd ranging from 5 to 10,000 people, depending on weather, which brings both riders and visitors to Lincoln. Event organiser Dan Elmore spoke about the financial benefits this brings to the area.
2014 and 2016, that was 2015 when we had it as a 4-day festival when it was part of the British Championships, because we brought in the bigger teams like Team Sky and those, it was an even bigger attraction, and it boosted the local economy by £2 million.
The women's GP will begin at 9 in the morning and should finish at around 12 noon, while the men's begins at 12:30 and is expected to finish by 4:30 p.m. With forecasts predicting bright weather, spectators can hope to see a race in full gear.
On 107.3 FM, this is Siren FM.
American football is becoming very popular in Lincolnshire, with a huge surge of people opting to try out the sport. Liam Phillips headed down to the Lincolnshire Bombers in action to find out why American football is on the rise in Lincoln.
Lincolnshire's only American football team, the Lincolnshire Bombers, has seen a significant increase in interest from people who are wanting to join the club. The sport, which has gained in popularity throughout the UK in recent years, has over 4,000 adults playing for teams across the country. It has proven to be extremely popular within Lincoln, as the Bombers have set up a new youth team due to the huge interest from teenagers within the area. I spoke to one of the head coaches, Maurice Maynard, about the increase in people wanting to join the team.
It's been growing in popularity because of obviously the NFL now playing regular games in London, so it's raised the profile of the game. And so we find we get a lot of interest, particularly with our junior sides. Last year we started with an under-17 side, and this year running an under-19 and an under-17 side. So the youth side is growing all the time. And 2 of those players are now fed into the senior team. And then we've recruited it from adults who are interested in the game. And slowly growing, and it's getting popular, as I've said before, and we hope to build on that.
Although the Lincolnshire Bombers season began a little over 2 weeks ago, the club have already managed to improve upon last season's disappointment. After losing some of their most important players over the last few years, the team has added a few more members to their squad, and it has so far proven to be extremely beneficial.
It wasn't a successful season by far, because we play a 10-game season and we lost all 10. So on that you would say it was unsuccessful, but the players played really well, and they played they gave total commitment to the game and they tried their hardest. So this year we've recruited since October, and we recruited quite well. We replaced some of the talent we lost 2 years ago. So we're looking a lot more positively, and at the moment, this stage of the game, we played 2 games and we've won 1 and lost 1. So we're better than last season already, and so we hope to build on that over the next few weeks.
The 50-man senior squad that is predominantly made up of players from the Lincolnshire area also has a number of American players within the side, one of whom is CJ McAllister. Whilst the sport is obviously a lot more popular within America, it is clear that the players enjoy the less professional and more relaxed atmosphere that the sport has within the UK.
It's got much more of like a homebrew type feel to it. Obviously it's much lower profile, so it's got the more amateur vibe to it. Whereas back home they've got, rugby is kind of on the same scale as American football back home with the amateur stuff. So it's good. It's like backyard ball,
The Bombers are currently looking for people to add to their squad. So if you're interested in playing, then head over to www.lincolnshirebombers.co.uk to get in touch.
Bombers on 3! 1, 2, 3! Bombers!
Now, Lindham Cricket Club's season began little less than a fortnight ago, but the club are already facing difficulties, as Robin Barlow found out.
Although the 22nd of April might have been a great day for sport in Lincoln, given Lincoln City's promotion to the Football League, its impact left Lindham Cricket Club on the back foot. The season opener was marred, for unorthodox reasons, by a number of first-team players missing the game to see the Imps lift the trophy at Sincil Bank. Meanwhile, their own team struggled to a defeat by Grantham Cricket Club. This, however, was not the first concern of the current season, another being the departure of key players, as first-team captain Charles Tomlinson discusses.
We've lost a few, to be honest. Luke Robinson, who went overseas to Australia, has come back and is looking for work, so he's not playing at the minute. Matthew Rutherford, who was a senior player, has just started a family, so he hasn't been able to commit to playing. So yeah, we've lost a couple. Availability at the start of the year has been difficult. There's been a few injuries, so yeah, it's been tough so far, but we've got a lot of young lads stepping up.
The club's recent troubles are in stark contrast to last season, when they briefly challenged at the top end of the table, before circumstances caused their position to dwindle in the latter stages. Tomlinson summarised this.
Last season went pretty well, to be honest. For the majority of the season, we were among one of the top teams in the league, to be honest. and as it got towards the end, there was a point deduction over a ground dispute, which was pretty disappointing.
Was that here?
That was here, and then it rained for the last 3 matches against the bottom 3 teams, so that put a big dent in our sort of chance of getting anywhere near winning it.
Although Lincoln City's promotion push might have dented Lindham's hopes in the match against Grantham, head coach James Kempton hopes that their example might help the club deal with the losses in personnel.
And obviously with the success Lincoln have had this season, Lincoln City, you see in terms of things that you can learn from professional game that you can try and bring down into sort of the amateur levels. And we're always looking to get a little bit of an edge, and as we said earlier, in terms of the players that we've lost a little bit of ability and a little bit of experience, and we've got to try and make that shortfall up somewhere. So we're always looking for angles where we can try and sort of steal a few runs, either batting or bowling or in the field, that at the end of the game can really make the difference between winning and losing.
Neither the captain nor the head coach thought that the club might be able to win the title, although the 2 wins that have followed the club's opening day defeat will give hope for a successful season. Kempton highlighted his prospects for the season.
I think with the squad that we've got, it's probably a little bit too early, but we went through a similar scenario about 8 or 9 years ago where we lost a lot of experienced players, and the season after everybody wrote us off, and we really had a good season that year, and we finished 3rd, and we were sort of on the sort of fringes of the title chase. So you never want to write yourself off too early, but it would be a really tough ask. But it would be the greatest achievement in the history of Lincolnshire cricket if we did.
Do a Leicester.
We could do a Leicester City, yeah.
Hopefully, the weather forecast will favour Linden this season, therefore sidestepping the cancellations experienced last year. It seems that the club will need to be, quite literally, batting above their average. This was Robin Barlow for Siren FM at Lindham Cricket Club.
And finally, Jack Dakin, a college student from North Hykeham, has reached the final 2 of a YouTube football competition. Spencer Owen, a popular football YouTuber who has over 1 million subscribers on his channel, recently started a YouTube football team called #United. The team consists of his close friends, but opened up the trials for the general public to join. If Jack wins, he will have a year-long contract with the club and win £3,000. Jack describes how he would react if he won the competition.
I'd probably be speechless, and that's something new for me because I don't mind talking a lot. But I'd be absolutely over the moon. It'd be incredible. Like, I've watched him for, like I said, so long. To then win it, to then play football with him, to then play football with the team. So obviously, because I've met more of the team players, like I know them, they know me, and all of them are absolutely sound. There's none of them that you think, I don't like him, he's a bit arrogant, don't like him. They're literally all they're all good lads, good footballers as well. They're a decent team. So yeah, if I won it, it'd just be like one of the best things that have probably ever happened to me in my life.
Now, earlier in the programme, we asked you to get in touch with your favourite moments from Lincoln City's amazing season. We're now joined in the studio by our social media man, Liam Phillips. Liam, what have people been saying?
Well, Chris said, Michael, Arsenal away for me, memories of that day will live in me for life. Going to play a team of world-class players at a top-class venue, with the footballing eyes on us at the back of what we had achieved, was very special. Loads of people in London wishing us good luck in the game, just amazing. Michael said, however, Forest Green Rovers away, the season-changing game, and then lifting the trophy at home to Macclesfield was a very special day. Walter added, the evening the coach were introduced as the managers. The rest is history. Dave said, getting to be at Arsenal and Macclesfield games, especially with my grandson, made me very proud.
Well, that's all we have time for in this special edition of Siren Sport.
Thank you very much for listening.
Goodbye.
Sport on Siren 107.3 FM.